Yo, what's going on, family? What's going on? Back again with my daily ramblings. Currently on a drive into the city, so it's going to be a nice long drive, unfortunately, but sometimes long drives provide needed solitude. So, I'm going to look on the bright side and look forward to it. So, I'll be honest, I had every intention. Um, in my next rambling to dive into some of my political feelings. I know I alluded to that in my last video because there's a lot going on. Um, there's a lot going on, uh, like politics wise, and I've never been one to hold back on my feelings on what's going on how it affects us as Americans, how it affects us specifically as, for me specifically as a black American, as a black American freedman. But I'm not going to do that today. What you can possibly look forward to, I think what I'm going to do is actually start another channel just to talk about politics. Uh, we'll see how that goes. But that's not. Oh, man. Well, unfortunately, I'm not editing that out. That alarm sound? Because these daily ramblings, I don't edit. I just post them. It is what it is. Cool. I don't have any other alarm set. So what I do want to talk about, and I spent on Monday just a full day just with God. For those that subscribe to my blog or my mailing list, you'll understand a little bit more what I'm talking about, and I'll expand on a little differently within the blog. But for YouTube right now, let's just say I spent a full day with God. Just a full day looking inward, a full day reflecting, a full day praying, and he revealed a lot. It's been, and I won't go super in depth because I've talked about this a bit in other videos. Check out some of my blog posts, you see where I've talked about, kind of the season I've been in since 2019, some of the things that I've gone through and dealt with. And I would say over the last, year and a half or so that I've made progress. One of the difficult things I dealt with coming out of some of my own mental health struggles has been feeling like I've been losing my memory, which has been a little bit scary because my father has frontal temporal dementia, and very often dementia, specifically frontal temporal, is something that runs in families and can start early. So it's just been a feeling like, not being able to keep up with things the way I normally could, not being able to find the right words. It's been frustrating. My doctors thought it was stress. I thought it was a bit more than that. However, I feel like one of the things that was revealed to me just in the time that I've spent with God, asking Him for help with the variety of things, is that my mind is not gone. And if I want control of my mind, this is kind of crazy, but, well, not crazy, but see if y'all can rock with me on this. But that if I want control of my mind, I have to gain control of my body. And if I want to gain control of my body, I have to anchor myself in the Word. That's kind of the message that's been permeating through my mind and through my spirit, and that has kind of been directing me on, a renewed path over these coming months, I've struggled, and in addition to dealing with the memory stuff, I've been struggling with my weight being up and down. When things are haywire, when I'm stressed, I eat a lot. Like, I impulsively eat, and I'll get in the good flows of going to the gym, doing walks, hikes, whatever the case may be. But then just no discipline with my food. Like, I'll come back, just stuff my face. And it's like, you can hit the weight room, progressive overload, you can get stronger. You can build your cardio up a bit and still be putting on pounds that aren't necessarily good pounds at the same time if you're overeating or if you're not eating the right things. And it's just been a struggle for me. The heaviest I've ever been. And I don't know, it's been frustrating. I know there's other people who've probably gone through this where you feel like, you're trying, but you're not making the progress. And once you start hitting a certain age, once you get into your 40s, losing the weight becomes more difficult, but it also becomes more taxing on your body, on just doing basic things, bending over, tying your shoes, being able to keep up with the kids, whatever the case may be. And I've had a little health scares here and there, and I know I need to get it in order. Also, though, gaining control of your body is also gaining control of impulses of whether it's sexual impulses, drinking, whatever the case may be, what you're putting in your body, all of that stuff. And I feel like the underlying message that I've been receiving is the gaining control of my body part is about discipline. It's about instilling discipline, not willpower. There's a difference. I think in willpower, it's often about just mentally like grinding through something and saying, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to do this. And I feel like what God is telling me is I need you to discipline your body if you want to gain control of your mind. Like, you're going to need to just do things daily. Not necessarily worry about, I'm going to lose 50 pounds or I'm going to be able to lift this much weight. But I want you to get up. I want you to hit the gym. I want you to do your runs every morning. I want you to go on those walks with the dog. I want you to control your physical impulses, sexual urges. That's gaining control of my body. But then the most important part of the whole message is that that's not possible if I don't anchor myself in the Word. And something I've always kind of struggled with as a Christian in my faith walk. Listen, I grew up in the church. I've been in the church my whole life. I've been singing in choirs since I can remember. I accepted Christ, I think, when I was like 9 years old. But I've always struggled reading the Word. And part of that goes to, I got, I have what I call some of the worst ADHD anyone can have. If something is not interesting to me, like immediately grabbing and interesting, I can't stay in it. Most books, I don't finish, especially if they're nonfiction. I'll start reading it, be excited about it. I'll extract some stuff from it. And then, especially if it starts to become repetitive or it's not exciting to me anymore, I put it down. And that's just what it is. And I've learned to accept that. I'm kind of okay with that on some things. But the Bible's been no different. It's really been difficult. I'm 41 years old now. In all these years, I've read plenty of different verses. I've attended Bible study. I've had streaks where I've read my Word, but I've never really got into it because I think I'm always waiting for it to excite me, for me to stay in it. And God is just really urging me in this season to write His Word on my heart, to allow His Word to be the anchor for everything else. So what I'm doing in this season is, and I've always kind of done things in reverse, like especially when I'm trying to instill habits, it seems like spending time with God has been like an add-on an additive. All right, I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go run. I'm going to hit the gym. And then when I get back, I'm going to pray and I'm going to read some of the word. And my thought process behind it has always been like, I need to get, everything starts with getting my body right first. Right. And I think, he's leading me in a different direction now. Like when you get up in the morning, I want you to spend time with me first, period. It comes first every time. It anchors everything. Like through the word, I will find the discipline. Through the word, I will find the courage. Through the word, I will find the fortitude to push through the difficult things. And so I'm trying to begin and end my day in the word. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing just a chapter a day. Sometimes you got to start, it's easy to say I'm going to read all these pages, do all this stuff. No, I'm doing Old Testament in the morning, New Testament in the evening. Just doing a chapter and just making sure I'm actually digesting it, taking notes, highlighting what pops out, spending some time in prayer during that time period, doing devotional. I'm doing Jackie Hill Perry's, I think it's called Upon Awakening, the devotional, which is, oh man, that's been great. But anyway, so my mornings have started to look like, getting up early. I'll put on my workout clothes to prepare for my run. But then I'll read my devotional, spend some time in prayer, spend some time in the scripture, highlight things that are important so I can come back to it, write my thoughts out about it. Then I go for my run. Then hit the gym if that's, what I'm doing for that day. And it's been different. Like, I'm only a few days into this sort of flow, but man, it's felt different. It's like I'm remembering verses, and it's like God is like pulling at me, telling me like, nah, your mind's not gone, bro. You're just allowing too much external stuff that is not me to permeate into your brain. And it's causing you to be, torn too many different ways. It's causing anxiety. It's causing stress that then is trickling over and not allowing you to focus in on your discipline. But all of this is happening because you're not anchoring yourself in the word. And man, listen, I didn't necessarily, my goal for if you look back through the history of this channel, I know I've gone over 10 minutes today, it just is what it is. If you look back through the history of my YouTube channel, it's been many different things. It's been, I think I've been on YouTube since the early days, but for the most part, me singing. It's been me talking about politics. It's been, my thoughts on different things that have to do with self-development and all that. But I'll tell you right now, don't be surprised at this particular channel, during the season especially, and maybe, on into the future, if you hear a lot of faith talk. My hope is that whether you're Christian or not, that, some of my insight, some of my personal experience, whether it's in productivity, whether it's in marriage, manhood, raising children, resonates. But just know that the underlying reason for me, the reason I do the things I do, the engine that keeps me going is God. And so there may be quite a bit of faith talk here, and I really hope that it tugs at someone's heart, at someone's spirit, being able to watch and see my journey, being able to watch my change, knowing that it's not too late to change. I'm 41, as I've said multiple times, probably because I had a birthday recently, but I'm not old, but I'm not young. Like, I'm not a spring chicken. And it's very easy when we start getting up there in age to feel like it's too late for us to change, too late for our habits to change, too late for our worldview to change. But let me tell you, it's never too late for Christ. It's never too late. It's just not. Until they put you in the ground, you have time. You have time to accept Him. You have time to move and operate a different way. You have time to form new habits and become closer to Him through His Word, through prayer. It's never too late. And, I feel my own sense of renewal right now. And my goal, I think I said it in the last video, but my wife and I have a new addition to our family coming in October, a baby girl. And, I have two other kids that are older. It's a whole different season. Raising them. I was 21 when my daughter was born. And a lot of things were just a scramble. I was working all the time. Like, I was still figuring myself out. I still felt like a kid in many ways. And I'm not going to be perfect with the next kid. No parent is perfect. But the one thing I do want to do is when she's born, I want to be the most mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy that I've ever been. So that I can just pour into her in a different way. And that's my goal. So a lot of it, it's not necessarily about, I do have some goals I want to achieve in terms of amount of weight that I want to lose, whatever the case may be. But really it's about putting these systems into place. If I mess up, picking myself back up and getting back on it, just in terms of diving into the Word, in terms of making sure that I'm taking care of my body and knowing that doing all of these things, like I said from the beginning, is going to refortify my mind. And I'll end here. This is the last thing I'll say, and this is to, anyone else that deals with mental health issues, whether it's ADHD, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, and I've dealt with all three of those and still deal with, a bit of them. Sometimes it's very hard to just use your mind to get your mind together. And sometimes medicine isn't enough, and I encourage people go to the doctor, do whatever you need to work through, keeping yourself mentally straight. But it's hard to just tell yourself mentally, I'll pull it together. It's important it's two things. It's important to find a spiritual grounding because you can't do any of it without God. But also it is important to create systems. To create systems to really keep yourself in track. To create systems that you can come back to when things go sideways, to take care of your physical body, doing things like meditating, like going out and running, have many times done more for me than any medication can. It's just when you get into that depressive state, when that anxiety grips you, it's hard to go do the things. I get it. Like, I can't stand no psychiatrist that, you should just, have better daily habits and everything will be better. You need to eat better. You need to run. If I could just do those things, man, wouldn't it be so simple? But I think the part that they often miss when they just tell you to go exercise more, go walk and go get some sunlight, is that, for people very often that are dealing with mental health issues, that without systems in place, systems that they can just plug back into when things go a little bit sideways, that it's very difficult to keep up the physical things that they need to do to help with their mental health. So I encourage you to, get some systems in place, whether it's journaling, bullet journaling, time blocking on calendar. And I definitely will do some videos in the future about the different various systems I've utilized and what I'm utilizing now because I've used all of them. I've used, oh my gosh, everything. And probably what I use right now is like a hybrid of different various systems, but I actually use a program called Notion to keep everything together. And I do a little bit of bullet journaling still also, but it's mostly Notion. I've been using Notion for a lot of years actually, um, very early on, because it's a way to really customize your productivity. But different strokes for different folks. That may not be for everyone. The biggest thing is I encourage you to find your own system, find what works for you. But most importantly, the lesson of the day is find God. And I'm gonna end it there. And I think I will put a link to my blog for those that want to, to my newsletter. It's a newsletter, but it'll also give you access to all of the past posts that I've done, everything that I've written up. I am probably changing platforms. I haven't been super happy. I've been using Beehive. It's been all right, but it's not giving me some of the customization that I want. So um, hopefully by the time you see this, the link still works. I'll try to remember to change it if I change platforms. Here I go rambling. This is why we call it Daily Ramblings. But yeah, if you want a little more in-depth, then, jump onto my mailing list. All right, y'all. Holla at you later. Love you. Peace.